Hi guys, you're watching Kawazi Plays. Welcome back to our Learn to Play Stellaris campaign. To bring you up to speed from last time, this is our home system, Sol. We are playing as the United Nations of Earth. I believe that's what we were called, which is one of the built-in races of the game. Yep, United Nations of Earth. So last time we covered the interface, we talked about the outliner, which has all of the details of our ships. We talked about all of these different resource tabs and limits we have up here. We talked about some of the menus. We also jumped back and forward to the galaxy menu, the galaxy map, which shows our place in the galaxy. And you can see we're still a very small kingdom on this side of the galaxy. We use the science ships, one here and one here, to start exploring the galaxy. And we use this construction ship to build mining stations and research stations, and also to take over new systems. We have a look at the situation log. We have our minor mandate going on for a democracy. We have the precursors chain, so we're looking for artifacts from an ancient alien species. We are looking to try and survey other habitable worlds, and we're investigating the Scaries. So that is looking at a new project to identify aliens. Those scary aliens are up there, so we have a hostile fleet there. Again, until they prove to be a threat, we weren't going to do anything about them. The other thing that happened was we had an anomaly come up. This was right before we saved it. So let's go back and have a look at that anomaly. Alright, anomalies will happen a lot in the early game. An anomaly is a random event. Some of these, and they all have story elements. Some of them are very simple, some of them are more complex. So on the anomaly screen, we'll have a research time, and that says how many days it's going to take us to research. So this one will take 179 days to research. Our scientist is currently a level 2 skill. As the scientist's level goes up, the research time goes down. Now the relatively difficulty is challenging, and if you hover over that and look at the tooltip, you can see that the anomaly is level 4 and our scientist is level 2. Okay, so it's challenging, it's difficult, it's not straightforward for him to solve. If our scientist were to level up to level 4, he would find it easier and that time would go down. We have several options. We can research it, we can change the scientists, or we can leave it. In this case, just so that you can see what's going to happen, I'm going to click research. This isn't going up because I haven't unpaused the game yet. So I will go ahead and do that now. Right, so at this stage in the game, we have our scientists all set to explore. They're doing that automatically. We really want to keep an eye on these civilian ships here in the outlier. So in the early stages of the game, you always want to keep them very busy. This fleet here isn't doing anything, so we're just going to give them a command to build mining stations. Alright. Now Stellaris gives us pop-ups all the time. We get a pop-up every time we've got a research complete. So this is our geothermal fracking. This is our minerals one. So that's complete. We can close this, or we can go new research. We'll go ahead and click on new research. And as you can see, we've drawn 3 new technologies. Now none of these technologies match our expertise, so unfortunately we won't be able to get a bonus there. Alright, but we can still choose one of them. This path icon here means that if you choose that, there are lots of other technologies down that path. Right. So what we've got here, we've got coil gun. That's a kinetic weapon. That's pretty good. It shoots things. We've got afterburners, which will make our ships go faster. And we've got standardized build patterns, which will make our ships faster to build and cheaper to build. I don't really want any of these at the moment, which is the downside sometimes of the random draw. So we're just going to go with standardized corvette patterns. And then once that's done, we can choose a different research. Let's go have a look at a planet. If you look at Earth here in the outline, you'll see that it's got a little icon here. That means it's got a building that can be upgraded. We'll click on that. This is our summary screen. This tells us all sorts of details about the planet. So there's some important things. Unrest. Although playing is egalitarian, we're unlikely to encounter unrest in this game. But yeah, if you upset your population, they can rebel against you. This here is all the resources that come out, and then there's just some descriptions, again, habitability and so forth in the leader. But this tab, the surface tab, is the one we are most interested in at this stage. This tab represents all of the things happening on the planet. Okay, we have tiles, and each tile can have a population. Each population has a happiness score, which is this line underneath it. Each tile also produces its own resources. Oh, we've just had a pop-up. So that's telling us that those aliens we discovered that we were investigating, the Skerries, are ancient mining drones. Okay, we're just going to establish a listening post on Earth. It issues another special project, which we'll go have a look at later. Let's put it in our situation log. One of the good things about Stellaris is most of the time you can leave events like that to later to sort out, and they'll sit on the situation log. Okay, another interruption. This is that anomaly we were looking about. So this is the orbital speed demon. Alright, attempts to scan it have been unsuccessful. Okay, so we can try to slow it down. We can attempt to halt it, so try and stop it, or we can move out of harm's way. Now if you note in the tooltip, these ones just say what we're going to try and do, but this one says we'll gain 200 experience. So if we do that, it's likely we'll get the experience and nothing will happen. If we attempt one of these, then the storyline will continue on that object. So let's attempt to halt it. All right. And we successfully halted it. It's a box containing some sort of alien material. We can open it, which gives us a project. We can study it, which gives us a different project. Or we can throw it away. And again, you can see this one gains 300 experience and is probably going to terminate the event chain. We are going to open the alien box. Why not?
Situation log updated.
Okay, and let's put it on our situation log. We'll go have a look at that once we've finished the discussion here. So I talked about the different tiles. Each tile can have resources down the bottom that it produces, and then you can build buildings on top to enhance the resources it produces. Currently, these buildings here are upgradable because we have another anomaly. Let's just research that. Researching anomalies is almost always a good idea. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and click that arrow, which will upgrade these two buildings. Okay. That costs minerals, so that's our mineral cost has gone down. However, by upgrading these, they'll produce us more minerals. So we're sort of investing in the future.
Construction complete.
We can ignore that one for now. All right. You can see we've got a pop here that's faded out. That pop is currently being grown. The more food we have, the faster pops will grow. We can go ahead here if we want and build a... We'll see there's already minerals on there, so we can build a mining network on top of that, which will enhance the amount of minerals we get. Right. You'll see here too that this building has the orange line that's upgrading the mining network. But this one here doesn't yet. This is number 1 and that's number 2. So each planet can only be building one person at a time, and everything else is queued. The other thing that you can do on your planet is we can click on one of these tile blockers. So these ones with the border around the tile blockers. So we can't actually access that. And your starting planet starts off with tile blockers. This represents the fact that your species wasn't particularly efficient in getting into space. So we can select one and we can click the clear button. This will cost us power and time. And we'll go ahead and click clear, and that's queued that up to clear. So when that's cleared, we'll be able to access that tile for building and putting a population on. Generally, there's not much point at the start of the game to clearing out more tiles than you have population space, population to build on. Empty tiles with no population don't do you anything. Later on in the game, if you've got lots of population to spare, then you can go ahead and do it. Alright, this is another report on one of the anomalies we looked at. Alright, and it's just going to say that scientist gains experience and the Voidcraft trait. That's kind of useful. Alright, so we've talked about our planet. One thing to constantly check in Stellaris is these alerts that are coming up here. This one says we've got Unity available to adopt a new tradition. So we can click on that. We've started down this harmony path. We've got 3 options now. We can increase our leader lifespan. We can increase governing ethics attraction. I'll talk about what that does much later on. Oh, another anomaly. This one being very hard. I don't want to tie my scientist up for 1600 days. That's several years. So I'm just going to say leave for now. Research it later. Right. And this one reduces unrest. So for the moment, increasing our leader lifespan is the one we wanted. Now, there's nothing saying we couldn't have adopted any of these other traditions and started a new chain, but because we get a bonus for finishing it, I kind of like to complete a single chain at a time. As you go on though, you'll find plenty of reasons to split chains. Okay, so let's have a look at our situation log. Let's go back to the situation log. So see, that anomaly we decided not to research is still sitting there. And the scientist's skill level has already gone up, so the research time has come down. But 800 days is still a long time to take a scientist out of action, so we'll just leave that for a little bit longer. Right, in the situation log, we now have a drone study project. And you click on that. It doesn't actually tell us what it's going to do. So we can study those mining drones we discovered. And we have this alien box that we can open that. Again, both of these, this one will take 98 months, and this one will take 171 months. And during that time, we won't be able to do our normal engineering research or physics research for this one. So I'm just going to leave those for now until I get to the point where I've got a bit more spare science to spend. Okay, notice that our construction ship has idled again. So we're just going to grab him and we're going to right click down here and we're going to tell him to build a starburst outpost. Okay. That costs us minerals and influence. Influence is your political power. So the more you expand, the more political power it costs. Right, at this stage, we've kind of run out of things to do. Everything's sort of happening on order. So what we can do is just hit the plus button a couple of times. So I use plus on the keyboard, or you can use plus up here. Hitting the plus key speeds the game up, which will let things run and tick along until we're ready to give further instructions. And when we do have further instructions to give, then we can either pause the game or slow it back down again. I'm hoping in the next little while we encounter another alien race or so forth, so we can start talking about diplomacy. Or if that doesn't happen, maybe we'll go fight these alien vessels. Those were the mining drones up there. That's also not a bad option at this stage. Found another anomaly. This one has a research time of 136 days. I think we can research that.
Construction complete.
Okay, this one's finished. So again, we'll just go ahead and tell him to build mining stations. Currently he's telling us we don't have enough minerals to build all of the mining stations we need. So what I'm going to do is actually click on the system to zoom in, and then I'm going to tell him to build a mining station, and I'm going to choose to build the mineral ones first. And I'll hold down shift and build another mining station out here. So we've got plenty of power, but we're a little short on minerals, so I'll build those later. If you were paying attention, you would have heard that we've completed our research, and this alert tells us that there's no physics research that we're doing at the moment. Now, unlike in most games, you don't have to hurry to complete your research choices. If you're doing something else that's keeping you busy, then it's perfectly fine to wait. What you'll see up here is that we have now at that top line under physics research, it says stored 18. So every time we're not researching, we're going to store the research up, and then we will slowly over time use that resource to on the research. So we're not losing any time. Alright, what's this event tell us? We've discovered alien writing. That's fascinating. So again, like normal, you hover over it and you can see the effect, and so that's just going to add 3 society research to the planet where we found that anomaly. And the scientist has gained a level. Let's go ahead and check that research now. Oh, this is good. We have automated exploration protocols. This is one you're probably going to want to get fairly early on, because it speeds up your science ship surveying, so they can go around the galaxy finding things much quicker, and it allows automatic exploration. The automatic exploration is not brilliant. It'll go in some weird directions and so forth, but it's still better than micromanaging it, because you'll occasionally find, oops, I forgot to assign one, and now I've got to sit. Now my science ship has been doing nothing for the last 5 years. So we'll go ahead and get that. Alright. Now we've just encountered a hostile fleet, which disappeared. Let's go back up to the map view. and see, okay, we had another hostile fleet here. There's more ancient mining drones there.
Anomaly found.
Yeah, 72 days routine. Go ahead and research that. Okay, so this scientist ship tried to survey that system, but found the ancient mining drones. This one here, this fleet stance is set to evasive. That means if they encounter hostiles, it will go the other way, go the other direction, which is great because science ships really can't fight. Later on, you might want to take risks in turning this on, but at the start of the game, it's no use to change that. So that ship is not actually exploring anywhere, so we'll just go ahead, right click, holding down shift. Oh, there's one in there I've forgotten. And give it a few more instructions to explore. Alien mural. That's fascinating. And it gives us another special project.
Situation log updated.
We are... Oh no, this is a different special project. So there's two types of special projects. There's some special projects that turn up here with these little symbols that just cost researchers. There's other special projects like this that are done by the science ship. So let's do that. We'll click on that science ship. We'll right click here and tell it to research projects in the system. So that, as you can see down here, that started translating the alien mural. Because I wasn't holding down shift, that's wiped all of its previous orders. We got some research options. None of these look particularly must have, none of them particularly bad either. So I'm going to go for farming subsidies. That'll help my population grow. Okay, keeping the construction ship busy. Always useful to keep them busy and running in the background. And again, you can look down here and see, yep, all of our ships are busy. Although this guy, once he finishes that mural, is going to run out of stuff to do. So we'll just give him some more instructions. The other thing we are looking for at this early stage in the game, as well as finding anomalies and finding resources, is you want to look for other planets to colonize. Potentially habitable planet here, potentially habitable. Its habitability is 30%. 30% is terrible, so we're not going to colonize that one. We click on it. So yeah, there's a fairly large planet, so later on we will want to go ahead and colonize it. But at this stage, it's not really worth our time and effort. Okay, we've translated the alien murals, which gives our scientists experience and gives us some engineering research. So you can see now we have 60 stored research, which will slowly be added to our engineering research over the next few months. We go have a look at Earth. I see we've got some more spaces to upgrade. Go ahead and upgrade these. The science labs, you can choose which type of lab to upgrade them to. I've only researched the physics lab first, so that's the only one I can upgrade them to. But we'll go ahead and do that. You always want to keep your buildings as upgraded as you can afford. I'll go ahead and build a hydroponics farm there. Again, always trying to take advantage of that extra resource that's left on the bottom. We don't need to clear another tile just yet because we've still got one pop growing here and one pop growing here. Alright, just carrying on with the similar building mining stations. Can't build a starbase there. very hard anomaly, we'll leave that for now. So I was saying we can't build a starbase here because we don't have the minerals. Again, tooltips in this game are great. You hover over it and it'll tell you exactly how much miracle you're waiting. Oh, another one. 973 days. No, we're going to leave that for now. Continental world. That might actually be habitable. See, our planet, if we have a look, is a continental world.
System survey complete.
And if this is a continental world, again, we haven't surveyed it yet, so its habitability hasn't come up. But as a normal rule, planets that are closer to your own are more habitable. That's good. That'll be useful to us. Traditions available. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and grab kinship. That increases our governing ethics attractiveness, which is always useful. At this stage, we haven't really had to come into play with our governing ethics. Okay, you see that's been surveyed now. It's turned green. It has a habitability of 90%. That's pretty good. So our next mission with this guy, as soon as he's built those mining stations, we're actually going to move him over here, and then he can build a starbase there. We want to claim as many high habitability planets as you can. You can see here, you get 5 and 5 from space, from a planet. That's pretty good. That's 10 resources. But you click on a planet, and just your base from your planet, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's before we improve it. We can improve planets to ridiculously high levels. So controlling planets is far more important than controlling space. I was hoping to encounter a alien civilization and sort of introduce you to some of the diplomatic options at this stage, but so far none of them seem to have spawned particularly near me. So what we might do is, once this system has surveyed, we'll go ahead and we'll set up colonization on that planet, and we'll talk about colonization. There are quite a number. Seems to be that's a very busy system. Lots of little planets in there, which is great because it'll give us lots and lots of opportunities to build mining stations. Going back to Earth, let's get something started building here. What options do we have? Alright, so let's have a look through some of these basic types of buildings. Most buildings that you can get in this game are all variations on the same. So this Autochan monument, that's for Unity. That's useful for adapting traditions. Again, you can upgrade it several levels. So we don't actually have any Unity buildings here, so we might build that there. But let's have a look at our other options. We've got a basic science lab. That's useful for increasing our research. Hydroponics farm produces food. Mining network. 82 days. Abandoned ship. Yeah, we'll research that. Abandoned ships are kind of cool. Sometimes you find aliens on them. Sometimes you can connect them to your fleet. You can power them up. And sometimes they're just empty husks. So we got mining networks that are minerals. Now this is worth 2 minerals plus whatever's on the base. But remember, we can upgrade those buildings. So you can upgrade to about level 5, which is quite a lot of minerals. We have power plants, which give us power. Same deal, they can be upgraded quite a few levels. And then we have strongholds. Strongholds are useful in that they provide defensive armies for our planet. they also reduce unrest. So currently we don't have anybody that's going to attack us, and we don't have any unrest. Oh, they found a solar sail. There we go. So that was that ship that they looked at, had an interesting technology, so they couldn't refresh it, but it goes towards our research. Alright, so strongholds are useful for defense or unrest. They sort of become necessary if you start, getting slaves on your planet and so forth. But for now, we're not going to build one of those. We are going to build a monument. That's going to go ahead and build that. This guy finished surveying. He's getting close. He's got 4 more planets to survey before he moves off. We've finished standardized covert patterns. Again, we can go new research. We've got 2 good options here. We can go ahead and get, let me push that one away because that one's going to be important. See, when I have a decision I want to deal with quickly, I can actually pause the game. So we'll go ahead with extra minerals. Extra minerals are always useful. This one also gives us extra minerals, which gives us a tough choice, but we'll go for that. Carrier operations, again, we haven't found anybody yet to fight, so they're less significant. Okay, let's talk elections. We are a democracy. That means every 10 years? I believe it's every... Yes, we're 10 years into the game. That means every 10 years we have an election. In a democratic election, we can click on this to bring up the election, we get a bunch of our leaders that can all stand for it. So if we have a look here, we can see what they're already doing. So this one's ruling from Earth, this one's commanding, these are our scientists, this is one of our governors on the core sector. In a democracy, each of the potential presidents has a mandate. Okay, and there's generally 2 types of mandate. There's off-world miner and there's orbital researcher. Off-world miner requires you to build mining platforms, and orbital researcher requires you to build research platforms. If you do, then you get a reward, which is normally in the form of influence. And if you don't, there's no penalty. So this is one of the strengths of democracies. If you're going to do it anyway, you can get farm a bunch of influence from completing their mandates. But more interesting to us is these numbers here. So this 26%, 26%, 24, 24. At this stage, they're all pretty equal, and that's the chance that that particular candidate is getting elected. Now, let's say we wanted to, we can click on one candidate and we can support them. That will cost us 50 influence. We got plenty of influence and support, and you can see that will increase their chances of winning the election and reduce the chances of anyone else. Now, we could keep supporting 5 or 6 times, which will again dramatically increase their chances. Once you start your citizens start to getting involved in politics, then who you choose as your president via this can be very important. But for this stage, you can really just leave it running with the default. I really didn't need to spend the influence to support them. Alright, we'll unpause that, and in a few moments we will get our results from our election. Science ship is almost done. Once that science ship is done, then we can... still a few more. 2 more points. Once that science ship is done, then we can go ahead and build our claim that system. And once we've claimed that system, then we can colonize that planet.
Situation log updated.
Alright, a new ruler has been elected. Again, we get 10 years to the next one, and they get a new mandate. So if we look at the situation log, their new mandate is mining, which is useful because we've got plenty of places we can build. Look at Earth again. You'll see it's said that there is a clearable tile blocker. So this alert only comes up when you run out of empty space. So let's go ahead and click that one and click. Research it and click clear. First time you play through, I highly recommend you read the Anomaly stories and get into it. This is very much a story-driven game. It's 4X, it's grand strategy, but the best parts of this game are the story. Alright, we can see down here that this science ship here has gone to sleep. Why have they gone to sleep? Probably because I ran out of orbits. Requires a scientist. That scientist just got elected to president. That is one of the problems of a democracy, is some of your better leaders get taken out. So I need to go ahead and recruit a new scientist to fly this ship. We'll recruit this one.
Tile blocker cleared.
No special reason. We'll tell her to survey. Survey. Let's survey. Is this the last planet? This looks like the last one in there. If it tells me system surveyed, then we can go ahead and
System survey
complete. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and build the Starbase Outpost. We'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll talk about how to colonize the planet. And once we've talked about colonizing the planet, then we will call it a day. Faction founded. Alright, factions we will talk about next session. I don't want to draw this out too long. 122 days, yeah, go ahead. Okay, birth of space piracy. That'll be an interesting thing to talk about next time as well. So we've got pirates coming in from the Pychron system, so they're coming in from here. But
construction complete.
let's pause it there. Let's colonize. So we can see now that we've got that green one there and it's inside our borders. We can just click on that to go to the planet. We go to planet surface. We can click the colonize button. Let's go ahead and do that. Colonize. Alright, now it asks us which planet do we want to colonize from. We can click down here, and the only other planet we have is Earth, and that only has humans on it. As our empire grows bigger and we'll get more species, we'll have more options on where to colonize from and what species to use. So here we're just going to click colonize. Where you place this kind of is important. Alright, the colony building, it forms the capital. On its tile it will produce power. Okay, so if there's a power tile, that's useful. On tiles directly adjacent to it, so above, to the left and below, it will give a bonus, a +1 bonus to production of minerals, or production of food, or production of power. It won't boost production of research, So you tend to want to place it in a system or in an area where it can get adjacency bonuses on 3 sides and where there's not research adjacent to it. So there is actually a pretty good system. The only downside of this is these 2 tiles have to be cleared before I can use them. So we're just going to click there, and it's going to say name our colony. Alpha Centauri Prime seems good. You can go nuts with creating colony names. We're going to click OK. Right, now how colonization is going to work is if we play again. Now Earth in the spaceport is building a colony ship. The other thing to note about building colonies is colonies are expensive in terms of power. A colony ship while in space will cost us 8 units of power just for existing. Alright? So you don't want to build colony ships in advance. We're going to pause it so those pirates don't come raid us. So once the colony ship exists, it'll cost 8 units of power. For the first 2 to 3 years of a colony's life, depending on which technologies you get, it won't produce any resources. It will just consume those 8 units of power. So you want to make sure you have plenty of power before you start colonizing. In my case, I don't actually have that much. So my next task will probably be to get one of these guys to go ahead and build a bunch of mining stations to extract some energy. I've got some here. I've got some down here. So that will offset the colony. There's no major penalty if you don't have enough power for the colony. The colony will just stop developing altogether. But running out of power does cause military penalties and research penalties and so forth. It's generally not a good idea. Thank you for watching. You can see down here we have this pirate that has just invaded us. So we're going to start talking about military next session. And we also have our first faction that alert came up before. So we're going to start talking a little bit about factions and politics, which play quite a bit into Stellaris as the game plays. You've been watching Kawazi Games. If you liked my video, please subscribe to my channel. Feel free to check out, I have plenty of other videos, mostly around game development. Foraying into Let's Play is something new that I'm trying. But feel free to reach out to me in the comments or on my website, which will be down in the description. And like, share, tell me anything else you want me to see. But that's it for today. We will go ahead and save that, and then we will come back again probably in about 2 weeks and carry on with the next one.